to the class, the first thing you need to do is you need to go to aplusstudents.com. You need to go to the website. Once you're on the website, you need to select math as your subject. This is a grade 6 lesson, and the name of the topic is two-dimensional figures or shapes. In two-dimension shapes, basically we have a length and a width, right? Anything that we can draw, that we can see on a flat screen, right? If there is a football, when you see it up close, you can see the round all the way, all the sides, right? That's a three-dimensional. But there's a football, and when you're looking up at a football from far away, you see a circle only, right? So that circle would be a two-dimension, okay? So the name of the topic is two-dimensional figures. Let me give you the chapter number. Chapter number is 30 and the lesson number is 7, okay? The chapter number is 30. Chapter number is 30 and the lesson number is 7. And the name of the lesson is Find Length, and Measure of bisected lines and angles, okay? So let's go to the website. Once we are on the website, we will have Math, grade 6, chapter 30, lesson number 7, finding the lengths and measures of bisected lines and angles, right? Length would be the bisected line and measure would be the angle. We cannot say the length of the angle. We say the measure of the angles, right? Okay, I'll just write it down. Length of a line, right? And we say measure of an angle. Agreed? The word bisected, we're using a term bisected. Bisected can also be known as, called as bisector. Okay? The meaning of the term bisected or bisector is to break it in half. To break or in half. The bisector always makes anything in a half. Okay? This is something that we need to remember. If we have a piece of paper, right? We can fold the paper as we wish, right? But when we are folding the paper in the center, making it half, that means we are bisecting the paper, okay? So anywhere we need to bisect, we say it becomes half. Hello, everyone. Hello, Peace. Hello, Crinsley. Hello, Brighty. Right. Okay. Hi, Yusuf. Yeah. Okay, let's continue with this topic, okay? So I'll just copy the first question and we'll see what we need to do over here, okay? I'll realign this first so that we can save our space. For the first question that we have here is this statement. Let me just realign this, okay? Okay. What is the measure, okay? If the question says that in a line segment measuring 18 inches, if we have a line segment means part of a line, right? A line segment. If we have a line that measures in 18 inches, we need to find what is the measure of each line segment. So if we say that this complete line was total in 18 inches, right? From point A to point B, the length was 18 inches, right? Yusuf, let's focus. If the length of the line is 18 inches, yes, divided by 2, that means, thank you so much, Princely. 18 divided by 2 would be 9 inches, right? So we mark it at the midpoint. This point would be the midpoint of this line, right? And we can say that this length is now 9 inches from here till here. And if we say this is point C, so the length of A to C is 9 inches. And from C to B, this is also 9 inches, right? So can we say the length of A and C and B, the length of AC and the length of CB, they both are 9 inches, right? That means the line has been bisected. Yes, thank you, peace. No, Yusuf, focus on this, okay? Crinsley, thank you so much. Thank you, peace. That means the bisected line is now in two segments, okay? Have you ever used a compass? Have you ever used, okay? Have you ever used a compass? Let's do another. I'll show you an example. I cannot use the compass on the screen, but I'll show you how it's done. Like, let's suppose if we are given a line segment, if I would consider the same line, AB, right? We knew this was 18 inches, right? I'll show you the steps how you can physically do it on a piece of paper, any given line. So the step one we follow is, if we have a compass, we open the compass more than half the length, more than half the length. So I'll just try to pick up a compass and let's see what we can do on this diagram, okay? Sorry, sorry. I just need to minimize this. Yeah, I have a compass and it says copy and I'll paste it over here, okay? Let's suppose if I have a compass over here and I would say, let's do a transparent selection. If I have this compass, okay, can I put this compass over here at this point? If I open this compass at more than half, right? If this point was fixed over here and I open the compass more than half, when I'll move the compass, it will draw a line over here, something like this, right? So I open the compass, put it at point A. I put it at point A, open it more than half, and I draw arcs on either sides. Okay. The same length of the compass, now I put at B and I draw the arcs, right? These arcs would intersect over here, right? And when I will join these arcs together, we can see that this line has been broken down into two equal segments. Okay. So the second step was more than half, draw arcs from point A and B. So once we draw this, if this total length was 18, then this becomes 9 inches and this becomes 9 inches. So you don't have to be very perfect. You just need to take the length of the compass to be more than half. Okay? The compass has to be opened more than half. If you do this process on a piece of paper, you'll see that any measure of the line, when the compass opens from point A to point B more than half, and you make arcs from point A at one at the top, one at the bottom, the same length of the compass at B, you make an arc at top and at the bottom. When you join the points of intersection of arcs, the total length will be divided into two. And we call this as line bisector. This thing is called line bisector. That means it has broken down the line AB into two equal segments, right? The line AB is now divided into two parts and the smaller parts are of equal length. Okay, that's how we use a compass to solve this. Okay, let's see. Okay, for the next question, they're saying if a line segment is given to us, question number, sorry, I'm so sorry for this. If a line segment is given to us, I just need to bring this to the other page. Just a moment, please. Okay, they're saying if a line segment is given, apologies for that. Okay. If this is our question number 2, and in question number 2, what they are saying is if a line segment is given to us, we need to find, and the length of the line segment is 30. Okay. If this is given to us, what they are saying is if a line segment measured 17 inches, right? Sorry, let me do it again. It's taking a lot of space. If a line segment is bisected and the bisected part of the line segment is 17 centimeters. Okay, I just copied it again so that it's easier for us to read. Okay, what they are asking us is what was the original length of the line? See, if a line segment is bisected to form two new 17 centimeter line segments, that means each part of this line is broken down into 17 and 17 centimeter, right? So what they're asking us is what was the measure of the original line segment? That means the original line, the line from A to B would be 17 plus 17, that would be 34 centimeters, right? Plus, princely plus, we are adding them together, right? 17 plus 17. Because we can see over here that if the original length was 18 inches in the first question, it was broken down into 9 and 9 inches, right? That means the total is broken down into two halves. And what we did was we divided it by 2 to find the small segments, right? So, but if in this question, what we do is if the smaller lengths are given to us, we add them together to find the total length of the original line. Do we agree, Crinsley? Yes, thank you, Brighty. Okay. Okay, that's 34. Crinsley, do we agree that 17 plus 17, right? It would not be a multiply. Can you please acknowledge that? If it's okay, do we agree on this? If we agree, then I'll move on to the next question. Okay, the next question says, okay, let me just copy this. If a line segment is bisected, okay, I'll just leave it at word problem, okay? I'm not copying the diagram. We will see what we can do. So for the next question, it says, if a line segment is bisected, just a moment, I'll put it down here, to form a new 8-inch measure of the segments, what was the measure of the original line? Very similar question to question number 2, right? What they are saying in question number 3 is, if a line segment is bisected to form two new 8 inches line segments, right? That means if a line we had was broken down into two parts, A, B, and B and C, right? The total line was broken down into two parts and each segment was 8 inches, right? What we need to do is what is the measure of the original line? Okay. Prem, what is the measure of the total line? Peace and Prem. The total measure of the line would be, the length of AC would be, we add the small first segment AB plus the second segment B and C, right? That means 8 plus 8, which that means the length of the original line would come out to be 8, Crinsley. Yes, we are adding them together because we have two parts over here, right? 8 plus the 8, right? That would be the total length. 8 plus 8 would come out to be 16, and we write the unit, that was inches. That means if the total length of the line was 16 inches, it is broken down into two parts, two equal parts, right? That would be 8 and 8. If the smaller parts are given, we can find the length of the bigger line, the original line. Okay, thank you so much. Yes. Okay, let's look at angle bisector. Okay. Okay, how we do the angle bisector, I'll just show it to you. Before doing this, let's rephrase this. I just need to resize this. Okay. If the original angle had a measure of 10, what is the measure of each new angle? Okay. So now we have an angle bisector. And we know that angle bisector, I told you the term bisector means breaking in half. Okay. So angle bisector would be equal to an angle divided into into two equal parts, right? So if in the original question they are saying that this angle is given as an angle is bisected to form two new angles. If the original angle had a measure of 10 degrees, okay, I'll just draw this over here again. If we have an angle that was 10 degrees, right? If they're saying this angle was 10 degrees, if the original measure of the angle was 10 degrees, what is the measure of the two smaller angles when they're bisected, right? And the bisector would mean that we will break this angle into two equal parts. That means this would be one angle and this would be the other angle. If the total was 10, then 10 divided by 2 would mean 5 degrees. That means each angle would become 5 degree and 5 degrees. The larger angle is broken down into two. Yes, right. It would become, what will be the measure? It would be 5 degrees, right? So the larger angle is broken down into two small. Whenever we bisect, yes, we divide by 2. Okay? Yes, we divide by 2. Thank you. So moving ahead, let's see what we can do. Okay. The next question they are saying is very similar to this. I'll just copy the statement from here and I'll just change the angle. Okay. For the next question, they are saying, question number 5. This is question number 5. and they're saying the measure is 42 degrees. Okay, so if the angles are given to us as 42 degrees, okay, if this complete angle was original angle was given us to as 42 degrees, they're asking us to find what is the measure of the each new angle. So we know that we can divide 42 by 2. 2 times 1 and 2 times 2 is 4, right? That means when we bisect the angle, this is an angle bisector. That means it breaks the angle into two equal angles. Okay, then the each smaller angle will become 21 and 21 degrees. Do we agree? So the complete angle is always divided by 2 to find the bisected angles. Okay, thank you. Let's move ahead. Let's see what else we can do in this topic. Okay, let's see if we had. Okay, for the next question, it says after bisecting an angle, okay, there are two angles. So now it would be the reverse of question number 5. Okay, let's say if this is given to us, just replace this. Okay, what was the measure of the original angle? So in question number 6, they are telling us that after bisecting an angle, Maria had two new angles, each with a measure of 19 degrees. Okay, so the question says if two angles are given to us, that means they were bisected. A bisector means this each angle is 19 and 19 degrees, right? So what they're asking us is what was the measure of the original angle? So what will be the original angle? If the original angle was broken down into two smaller angles which were equal, that were 19 and 19, right? Then what should be the original angle? Then the original angle would be 19 plus 19, that would be 38. Agreed? Or we said 2 multiplied by 19 because there were two angles, it's still 38. So we can say the original angle was 38. Agreed? So if the original is given, we divide it by 2 to find the smaller angles. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Brighty. So if the original is given, we divide it by 2 to find the smaller angles. If the smaller angles are given, then we add them together to find the original angle. It's okay. No problem. Thank you for the answer. Okay. 38 is correct. Okay. Now, what they are saying is they want to move on to the. Okay, just a moment. I'll just copy it from here. Okay, I'm just copying it so that I don't have to realign it. Okay, the question number 7 says, this is our question number 7, and I would just change the length over here. This is our question number 7. If a line segment is bisected to form two new line segments, each to form 5 centimeter line segments, right? That means if there was a larger line we had, it was broken down into half and each segment had a length of 5 centimeters. right? Bisected, because we can read the word bisected over here. And bisected means the total length is divided into two equal parts. Okay. Crinsley, what should be the measure of the original segment of the line? Crinsley, can I have the answer? If a line is bisected to form two new 5 centimeter line segments, if the two smaller parts were 5 centimeter each, yes, thank you, Brighty. But Crinsley, can you give me the answer as well? Yes, thank you. That means we say 5 plus the 5, and the length of the total line would be 10 centimeter. I usually prefer labeling this so that we know that the length of AB is 10 centimeter. You can do your own labelings. It does not make any difference, okay? You can write any alphabets to label. But once we have done the labeling, it's very easy for the person who is checking our paper. If they are sitting for an examination, they would know what exactly are we saying, right? If I say AB is 10, then we would know that the total length is 10. Thank you, Peace. Thank you, Prinsley. Thank you, Brighty. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, similar question. If a line segment is broken down, okay, they're just saying this. I'll just change the value over here. They have a different value for question number 8. And they are saying they're broken down into 13 centimeters. So what was the original measure of the line? That means if we had a line that was broken down into two equal segments, each segment was 13 centimeters, and we label this as P and Q, right? Then the length of P and Q would be, yes, 13 plus 13. Then the length of the new total line comes out to be, yes, 26 centimeter, right? We agree on this? Because the two smaller segments were given to us and we had to find the larger segment. Thank you so much. 13 plus 13 would be 26 centimeters. Okay. The next question we have is an angle bisector. Okay, let me just copy this statement. An angle is bisected forming two angles. Okay, let me just copy this and I'll edit this. For question number 9, this is a statement that is given to us. Let me just redraw this. Okay. Each new angle has a measure of 9. What was the measure of the original angle? Let's suppose this was a statement. Okay. So for this particular question, it says this statement in question number 9, they're saying an angle is bisected to form two new angles. Each new angle is measure of 9 degrees. Okay. So what they are saying is that each smaller angle over here, I'll highlight it differently. This angle is 9 degrees and this angle is also 9 degrees. What they want us to do is they want us to find the original angle, the complete angle. Yes, thank you, Crinsley. That means the angle is 9 plus 9. That would be 18 degrees. Thank you. Thank you, Brady. Thank you, Peace. Thank you, Crinsley. See, so what we are looking at is the word that says bisected, right? So whenever we will hear the term bisected, we will say that the line has been bisected into two lengths, or the angle has been bisected into two equal angles, right? Okay, let's do question number 10. Question number 10 has a different angle. The question number 10 says measure of 15. Okay, so let's suppose if I draw a line over here, if I make an angle, this angle was bisected, this angle was bisected into two equal angles, and we can say the bisector is here. That means each smaller angle was 15 degrees, right? So what should be the larger total angle? Can we find the total angle? If the if an angle is bisected, we don't know the value. But the two smaller angles which are created, each angle is 15 degrees. So the total angle should be the sum of these two angles, right? That means, yes, thank you. 15 plus 15, that means the original angle was 30 degrees. That means this total angle was 30 degrees. Thank you, Brian. That was broken down into two angles that were, no, Crinsley, it cannot be 39. Yes, 30. Thank you. Typing error. That is 30. Thank you. Let's see some more. Very similar question, the next one. Let's copy the same. Then we'll try to change this, okay? And we do the other way around. So the next, sorry, we have space now. Question number 11 says, this is our question number 11. And I'll just rearrange this. Okay. As two new angles measure of 20 degrees. What was the measure of the original angle? If this is the question we have, this was our question number 11. And they are saying that if we had an angle that was bisected into two smaller angles and each smaller angle was 20 degrees. If this was 20 and if this was 20, right? Each angle with a measure. So what was the original angle? What is the measure of this original angle? Yes, thank you. That would be 20 plus 20. Can I write 40 centimeter? Can I write this 40 centimeter? Is my answer correct? My question is, I wrote 20 degrees plus 20 degrees is 40 centimeter. Is my answer correct? Please, is my answer correct? Righty, is my answer correct? Yes, thank you. Because when we are considering angles, we cannot take the measurements of lengths. We have to say it's an angle in a degree, right? Yes, thank you. So units are very important while solving the questions, okay? Okay. If I would say, let's try to find, okay, I'll just copy the statement and let's try to make a question out of this. Question number 12 says, this is our question number 12. And if I would say this was given as 66, okay? So the question says an angle was given to us that was 66 degrees. We need to find the measure of the new angle when the angle is being bisected. The word over here is bisected, right? So whenever we bisect a line or an angle, it goes into half. That means if the total was 66, 66 divided by 2 would be? What is 66 divided by 2? Yes, it would be 33 degrees. That means each smaller angle would come out to be 33 degrees. So we can say that this angle, right? And we can say this angle. They both are 33 each. Okay, thank you. Let's try some questions because this is just the same, right? Okay, let's try some questions from the test. Let's see what we can complete. Okay, let's begin with the test. We'll try to do as many questions as we can. Okay, let me just post the question. The question number 1 says from the test, it's this given statement. These are the two options we have. This is the angle that we have. Let's remove this. What was the measure of the angle? Okay. So if this is the first question that says, if an angle is bisected to form a new 11 degrees angles, right? That means each smaller angle is 11 degrees. So what would be the answer of the original angle? Yes, thank you. That means if we say this is option A and option B is the correct. We can, thank you so much. That is 22 degrees. Option 2. Thank you, Peace. Thank you, Brighty. And thank you, Princely. So we click on 22. That would be the correct answer. Okay. If we have a similar question for question number 2, let me just copy this so that I don't have to realign. This was question number 2. I'll just change the value over here. Okay. If this was 7 degrees, and the two options that we had were okay, these were the given options. Okay. So which option should be correct? Option A or option B? If each smaller angle is 7 degrees, then the larger angle would be, if this was 7 degrees and this was also 7 degrees, yes, thank you, righty. 7b plus 7 would always be equals to 14, right? Thank you, Princely. Thank you, Peace. So now we know that if the smaller angles are given to us, we just add them to make the larger angle. Or if the larger angle is given, we divide to make the smaller angle, right? So for question number 3, it says, okay, a line is broken down into 2 smaller segments. Okay, they're saying a line is broken down into 2 smaller segments. We need to find, just a moment, I'll realign this. Oh, sorry. And find the original length, okay, of the line. We need to find this in question number 3. And the options given are, let's suppose the two options are, option A is given as 6 centimeter and option B is given as 24 centimeter. So which option should be correct? I would say 6 would be correct, right? Option A or option B? Yes, thank you. Because the smaller segments were 12 centimeter each, then the total length would be 12 plus 12. Thank you. That would be 24, and the unit was centimeters. Okay. 24 is the correct answer for this. Okay. That is 24. Okay. For the next question, question number 4 from the test quiz, we say that this is given to us. Okay, let's just copy this. Let me realign this. Okay, if this was the angle that is given to us, and the question says in this statement, okay, so question number 4 says an angle is bisected, forming two new angles if the original angle had a measure of 10. What is the measure of the option number A or option number B? Yes, thank you, Grinsley. That means if the original was 10, option number 1 is perfectly correct. That is 10, it was divided into two smaller angles, right? So we simply divide by 2 and we get 5 degrees. That means the smaller angles would be 5 degrees each. And option A was the correct answer. Thank you. Let's have a look at another example. Another question from, not an example, another question from the test, okay? Okay, the next question says, a line segment is bisected. Okay. Okay, I'll just draw this, copy paste. For question number 5, but I'll remove some things from the question, a few things from the question, okay? If these are the two options, I'm removing this. I'm just leaving the word problem. Okay, I'll just, a line segment is bisected to form two new segments. If the original line segment has a measure of 8 inches, what is the measure of each new line segment? What I did was I removed the diagram. Okay, so option A or option B? What they're asking us is, what is the measure of each new line segment? That means they're asking us what will be the length of the bisected lines, right? See, this means that if we have a line, if the original line segment had a measure of 8 inches, right? If this was the original line, that was 8 inches. Yes, thank you, Bradley. Option number 2, that is 4. So once we break this line into two parts, that means 4 inch and 4 inch, right? We can do 8 inches divided by 2 would give us 4 inch for each side, right? Thank you. Okay, one more. Okay, so the next question says, a line segment is bisected, forming two new line segments. In this case, the smaller parts are given. The smaller ratio is given to us. Okay. So question number 6 says, a line segment is there. And these options are given to us, option A and option B. So what they're asking us is, what was the measure of the original line? It's the reverse of question number 5, right? In question number 5, the total length was given. We were asked to find the smaller lengths, right? In question number 6, the smaller lengths are given. We are supposed to find the total. Yes, thank you, please. That means 5 plus 5 would be 10 centimeter. That is option number A, right? So please do the remaining questions. Please do try the remaining questions so that you may have more practice. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for responding. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye. I'll see you later.